Good afternoon and welcome to Southeast News on Signature TV. I am Barik Moado and I'm glad you're there. The headlines: Man defies 7-year-old neighbor's daughter. Soludo set to make Anambra skill hub of Africa. Carlos Media reacts to Oti's speech on Arochukwu Hafia Road. Stay with us. A 30-year-old man identified as Chinonso Ezekiel Nwebonyi has been arrested for defiling his neighbor's 7-year-old daughter. The incident happened in Awka, the capital of Anambra State. The mother of the victim reported the matter to the Ministry of Women's Affairs after discovering it while bathing her daughter. The mother said that she noticed that the private area was swollen when she inquired. Her daughter accused Nwebonyi. She said the defilement had been a regular occurrence. It always happened when her daughter and her twin brothers went to play in a pedophile's compound. She added that she took the daughter to a pharmacy where she bought her drugs and also complained to the guardian of Nwebonyi before reporting to the ministry's officials, who later arrested him. Suspect, an indigene of Izi in Ebonyi State, confessed to the crime but claimed he did it only once. He was quoted as saying he never forced the girl but only asked her to raise her clothes and lie down on the ground. As of the time of filing this report, the suspect had been handed over to the police for prosecution. Still in Anambra State, the state governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, has said that his government is prioritizing youth development with the aim of making the state the largest skill hub in Africa. The governor spoke yesterday at the International Convention Center in Awka, state capital, during a Master Trainer Value Reorientation Workshop for business owners. The workshop was organized to train 620 businessmen and women who will receive funds to expand their business and also train 8,000 youths in the state in a program tagged One Youth, Two Skills. Anambra State Commissioner for Youth Development, Patrick Ahamba, who represented Soludo at the training, said the program was in its second phase and the aim was to make Anambra State the largest skill hub in Africa. Ahamba said the event is organized to enable the master trainers to know what the vision of the governor is for the program and to drive it in line with his manifesto. Trainers need to acquire the positive mindset needed to drive the vision and other requirements that will help them deliver results. Governor Soludo believes that the youths are not the leaders of tomorrow, but should be leaders of today, and is giving the youths the opportunity to thrive. Program tags turning Anambra into the biggest skill hub in sub-Saharan Africa, with all youths having employable skills. Trained 5,000 youths in the first phase of the program, and in the present phase they are training 8,000 youths. By the time they continue to its fourth phase, many youths in the state would have acquired 2 skills that will make them independent. A report gathered that 620 master trainers, established business people in various skills, will receive trainees and train them on their various skills, while the state government has mapped out 3.5 billion naira to empower them as seed capital. It was also gathered that some of the skills that the youths were trained on include metal fabrication, clothes making, hairdressing, aluminium fabrication, cake making, and several other skills. The workshop featured paper presentation by several experts on how to run their businesses professionally and take attendance from the trainees to ensure maximum impact. The media office of a lawmaker representing Abia North Senatorial District in the National Assembly, Senator Ojus Okalu, has reacted to the speech delivered by Governor Alex Oti on the flag-off of a reconstruction of the Arochukwu Hafia Highway on August 28, 2024 at Ebem Ohafia. The media office, in a statement issued on Wednesday, signed by George Maduka, said some of the paragraphs of Governor Oti's speech were deeply concerning to the former Abia State governor. Further stated that the governor credited the construction of the road to the administration of Dr. Michael Opara instead of Dr. Ikoku of PTF and his personal assistant, Mr. Ocha Achimovo, who were instrumental to the construction of the road during their days in the Petroleum Trust Fund. Also, as Chief Whip of the Ninth Senate, Senator Ojus Okalo played a critical role in persuading then-President Muhammadu Buhari to release funds for the construction of the Arochukwu-Ohafia Road through his efforts and that of other public servants from Abia North Senatorial District. Then, President Muhammadu Buhari ordered for funds to be released for the road construction. Statement suggested that it is important for Governor Oti and his team to know that through the effort of Senator Ojus Okalo and Uko Nkole, former member representing Arochukwu-Ohafia Federal Constituency, the said road was constructed up to Mochikuama in Arochukwu local government area, leaving it with about 14.5 kilometers remaining. Therefore, the record should be set straight by the governor's team so that when reforms are applied for, both the federal government and the Nigerian Senate won't have issues reconciling the figures. That's the news. For the unlearned, the month of August is generally known to be for women's mass homecoming in Southeast. But little do they know that men have the biggest say in the month of August, as it's a month for the celebration of the New Yam. The New Yam Festival in the Southeast, known as Iwaji, Iriji, Ikeji, depending on the dialect, is an annual cultural festival by Igbo people that is held early in August and runs sometimes into September. New Yam Festival is a cultural identity of the Igbo people, celebrated wherever Igbo resides across the world, celebrated without boundaries. Yam is known as the king of crops, brings prominent men together in joy during this celebration. And that's why we have in the studio with me this afternoon, Chief Andrew Nnebedum. Is a connoisseur of culture, is a journalist, is a content producer, is so many things in one. He is known as Okloa of Ezago. You're welcome to Southeast News.
Thank you very much. Nnebedum. Thank you very much.
Andrew Nnebedum, you've been talking about culture almost all your life. I want to paraphrase from some of the books concerning Igbo culture and the New Yam. You will discover that if a man says he's rich in the then days, it is the number of yams and the size of those yams in your yam barn that shows the wealth that you have. So at what point in the history of the existence of the Igbos did the yam become the king of a crop?
Well, I will say it is something we cannot say it started this time or the other time. But as long as Igbo existed, yam had remained the king. It is true we used to have what we call other tubers, like cassava and other tubers. There used to be a joke that cassava came to help yam, and now cassava is almost taken over because of everybody is eating cassava in different forms. But yam remained the head of all crops. And that's why it is celebrated. In those days, before yam is harvested in Igbo land, they used to have ceremonies. But nowadays that the Christianity has come into the Igbo land, those traditions are shelved.
So can we have an idea of those ceremonies?
Yes. In my own area and other areas in Igbo land, they have to go for what they call Nshajoku. Nshajoku is a kind of a celebration when they consulted their deities that it is time again for them to thank you for what you did for them, giving them bumper harvest of yam and yams. When I say yams, we have different types of yams, ranging from Wopoko, Adaka, Abi, Ayebo, and the rest of them. These are the types of yams. And when you thank God for what He did for you, then next year's yield will be bumper. And of course, this festival started over the years, and ages celebrate it according to their times. And what I know is that during the celebration of Yam Festival, a lot of events, ceremonies come into it. We have even traditional sports coming into festivals, like wrestling. They arrange village by village wrestling. They also have masquerade activities, and also have theaters where people come to recite, and you see people who talk from now till tomorrow in form of a poetry. We call it Igbo Itaevu in different parts of Igbo land. And they go about making people happy. So these are the things that they did. And even though women are not much involved, but women are involved. Because before Yam Festival is done, the women are invited to prepare the paste with which the yam is eaten, usually made of oil bean, tree which they call oba, and use solid meat, dry meat, and codfish, okporoko, dried. And whenever we are taking yam during yam festivals, you see men from different parts of the world coming back to their origin, their home, to help their forefathers and their fathers at home celebrate and thank God for what He's doing for them. Because yam has helped the Igbo man in so many ways. In fact, some of us, I came up to see my father farming in different fields, yam. And I was always busy. Immediately I come back from school, they will ask me to come to the yam field where they cultivated for him, for me to help sow the yam. And when I was little, I couldn't sow the yam. I was helping in placing the yams in the heaps where they will now be sowed. And the elder people will come and use their knife or hoe to open the land, the ground, put the yam. Until I grew up, I started sowing. I'll carry, basket full of yams, whether it is one sliced or the whole yam. You carry it and they count the number of heaps and give it to you. You travel, go there, place the yams, make sure they all heaps have one, and you sow according to the size of the heaps. If it is a small heap, you can use the sliced yam. In our area in Ezra, we call it Ibeji, Awaji. That is the one that is not wholesome. So, it doesn't prevent people, because in every community you have lazy people who could not till the ground. What you see them do is to go to Oboete market, go to Onisha, buy big tubers, and come home during celebrations and then eat alongside. But in those days, you are not allowed to go and buy yam outside. You have to, uproot
what you produce.
What you produced. So, and of course, and if you are lazy and you couldn't produce, you know what the villagers will do to you.
So let's digress a tiny little bit.
Okay.
Now, we're talking about food scarcity. And it's affecting a whole lot of people.
Yes.
Some say it's climate change. So the farming season of the olden days is no longer the same now.
Yes.
Some say it's using the wrong type of fertilizer. Are we not missing a point when we plant? I said the digression, remember?
Yes, yes.
When we focus so much attention on only one particular type of crop.
That is yam?
That is yam. Because I remember the story where you said cassava came, or yam came to help cassava. And
cassava came to help yam.
And now cassava is
taking over.
Taking over.
Yes.
So just look at that analogy. Because yam can give you pounded yam, can give you boiled yam, can give you fried yam if you want to push.
Yes.
Can give you other things. But cassava will give you much more.
Much more.
I remember during the administration of Obasanjo, President Obasanjo,
yes,
when he was insisting that they turn cassava into cassava flour to bake bread.
Right.
So Wouldn't this affect the planting of different crops? Because as far as I am concerned, that does not take away the place of yam as a king of the crops.
No. Yes, let me come in here. All these other crops came in, but there are things yam could do that it could not.
Such as?
You cannot have compare yam fufu with a cassava fufu. Do you understand? When you have an also titled man, a chief like myself, when you invite me to any feast in your place, I don't expect you to give me cassava fufu. It is always yam and yam fufu. And in our place, most people, when we have such events, we don't take your new semovita, semolina, and the rest of them. You must pound yam for us. And when you pound yam, some of the traditional, also titled people, they go into their enclave where you don't see them, and the gong will be going on, wooden gong, and they will be eating inside. After eating, they come out dancing. And for those who were hitting the gong, they will come and present what he left. Because while hitting, we remember that some people are, beating the gong for him. I will come dancing with carrying the food, and they will just match the wood gong, and everything will stop. That's to say, thank you. And it is only done by rich people. And remember you said in the beginning that it is the number of yam bands you have and the number of stakes you have that will determine if you are a rich man in those days. It's no longer the same today. People now travel far and wide. And they come back when they need yam, they go to the market and buy. But there are people who are cultivating this yam, farming year in and year out. You hear of G. Abakaliki, special yam from Abakaliki. And when you get to the market, you know this is Abakaliki yam. And you know when you travel and you want a G from Onitsha yam, you have Odepe, you have Anam. These yams, when you see them, I don't know how they used to know it better, they have colors depending on the color of the soil. There are soils you dig and you see the yam looking reddish. You see the one you're using and it's muddy and so on. That's how you know it. And there are special yams and, which people run after. There is the yam they call Adaka. It's a very solid yam. It hardly spoils.
Produced in which area?
All these areas produce it. It's another kind of species.
So it can stay longer in the barn?
Stay longer in the barn. You hardly rottens. And the second one is the one they call Nwopoko. Nwopoko looks very smooth. And the other time I went to buy yam for a ceremony in my family, I bought yams that a 5-year-old child could not lift. So that is the essence of farming. But one of the problems the farmers are facing today, you were talking of intervention of other crops, but the biggest problem is that people can no longer go to their farms to farm because of the infiltration of herdsmen. The other day, I took my wife for us to, harvest cassava in our farm. On coming there, I saw a fleet of cows, about 500 in number, with about 4 boys. They were uprooting the cassava we came to uproot and throwing it to the cows. I stood far with my wife watching them. We were afraid if you make noise, they can attack you. And they had weapons. So these are the things inhibiting farmers from producing more and going into the fertile areas. There is an area in my father's land where you go. We used to make a very high dips, heaps. We used to call it mboko. We can now sow about 3 or 4 yams in it. In one heap. And when you harvest, oh my God, that's the type that I told you that the 5-year-old child could not lift. But these days, because of fear of the herdsmen, we can no longer go there. And when you go there, if you don't go in group, you must be attacked.
Now, when you saw that at your own farmland,
yes,
did you made any effort to report to the security agencies?
Yes, we have a kind of meeting arrangement in Eziago local government, where when they go into your farm and destroy your farm, we just know the area, the time, we report to the local government. There are people in charge of it, and they will trace who is the owner of those cows. And in some areas and times, they pay you compensation. So that is the thing. But it hinders the production of not only yam, other crops, and we are crying of hunger this time around. But I think something must be done. If it is those who don't have empty lands around their homes, they will go hungry. They go hungry.
Okay, now, we're still talking about yams.
Yes.
We've talked about yam being the king of a crop.
Yes.
We talked about some other crops. Now, let's just take a little bit out again, digress a little bit now, and look at what are the reasons why youths are running away. Because you said, I was expecting you to say when you went with the family members, you just said your wife.
My wife.
So where are the youths in terms of farming, in terms of growing the crops that will put food on the table?
Let me say with the introduction of many businesses, and the youths now look for money. Farming does not give you that quick money. And now youths rush to the business areas, developed areas, to look for money. And they can come back and buy you with your yams, and even you with money. So then longer.
Is that not against the tradition?
It
because
is
they said to buy tradition. You and your yams. The yams, yes, no. Because
what I mean is that they go out to make a lot of money. And they'll tell you, what do you want me to come and stay in the village doing when others are going to buying and selling, traveling overseas, and making a lot of money? That they now leave farming for older people, the elders.
So let me reverse. You did say that when you were younger, you didn't have the strength to push in the yams,
yes,
to sow these yams. So it was difficult for you. And now, as you got older, the younger people that should have the strength to farm are telling you that you should still continue doing the farming.
Yes, they've all run away.
But isn't that something wrong?
It is nothing. We got it wrong.
Is there nothing the elders can do, the community can do, to get the younger people to pay interest in what brings food to the table beyond money? By the time you get old, you are advised to look more to vegetables, and you need a farmlands for that.
Yes.
You're advised to run away from so many of the food you would have eaten in the urban areas. So at what point will the youths begin to pay attention to farming?
the number of youths still in the villages are very few. Majority of them are in the townships.
Doing what?
Doing businesses.
What type of businesses?
Some go into selling and buying. Some go into learning of trades. They saw it more lucrative than staying at home to do farming. But the little ones that are remaining in the, in the villages, they now, see farming as a kind of disturbance. And you, as you are getting older, you want to come home to farm. You want to seek for the services of these young men. They put amount of money that you cannot pay to cultivate one plot of land. One plot. And that's why things are very costly and exorbitant in the market today.
Yes, because what I was thinking was, even the youth that are in the urban centers,
Yes,
doing their businesses, I thought when you were growing up, you were always told to have a farm back at home,
yes,
even if you're getting people to cultivate it for you. But now we are having a situation where people are focused on doing something else, and no one is cultivating. And if there is scarcity, once demand is far higher than supply,
yes.
you will have prices skyrocketing.
That's what we are seeing today.
So how can we resolve this? How can we use the festivities of celebrating yam as a king of a crop, while also remembering that there are other crops, and get the youth to understand that farming is also important?
Well, let me say that the government should have a hand in this. The government should put all the public utilities that drag these youths outside their enclave, return them to the villages. For instance, if there is a constant light, that is power, water, good roads in the villages, all these youths will not be running away. They will all get home. And I tell you, farming is very lucrative nowadays. The other time, I went to buy something in our local market in a bodo like Cabo Mana, in my place. When they see you coming with a car, they will say he came with money. All the boots are full of money. And you come out to price even vegetable, they hike it. So I think what the government should do is bring all those things closer to the people so that the youths will come home. You see, there are people who cannot travel to their villages because of bad roads in different parts of Igbo land. I was very happy the other day. I was watching Annam. I used to visit Annam as a young producer and a journalist when we used to travel to interview the Igbo of Annam, Igbo Ameke of Annam. We used to travel because in those days you can't get to his place unless you use a pontoon, even if you have a car, or use canoes. So we were about 8 journalists that day. It was Enugu then. That is Anambra State. There was no creation of the state then.
Enugu State then.
Yes. We all traveled and came to his house through, pontoon.
Over the Annam River.
Yes, the Annam River. But the other day, I saw the people of Miata Annam jubilating that the governor of Anambra State, Soludo, has tarred the road linking them to the local government headquarters in Miata Annam. which no governor could do since the creation of that state. And they were celebrating. If you see the number of yams, tubers of yams, and of course other crops that they brought out, and fish. Oh my God, I didn't tell you that day it was about 1 week to the celebration of a New Yam Festival by that traditional ruler. That was around 1984. Came from Radio Nigeria, people came from other media houses. And it was just to highlight pre-festival, event. And he brought us, and he was talking about the type of, we were there. He was still discussing with us. He sent 2 boys to the river. They harvested, fish, very big ones, prepared it, and of course, cut it, and they give. If you are a big farmer, what are you doing in township? What are you doing in the township, for goodness sake? Because you'll be happy, you will feed fat, your people will feed fat, you'll even have enough money to take your children to school. But nowadays, these things are going. People are now talking of going to township to make money. There is a new music in town, which they call Egombute. Egombute. I have never heard that you go, there is a place you go, and you harvest money. And a lot of people run to outside in Nigeria, thinking that there are trees there where you pluck and harvest money. It is never like that. You have to suffer to make money. We have, fertile lands in Igbo land everywhere. And I'm happy to say today that our Igwes and Ezes in Igbo land are doing their best to make sure that our youths, the only problem we have, it is not only one community in Igbo land, is the enemy we have now, and that is a herdsman. Will come, and before you know it, they took over your area, build their huts in tents, stay there. If you come there, they butcher you, and so you run away.
I thought in many of the communities in the Southeast there are forest guards.
Well, there are forest guards, but most of these forest guards are not seriously armed. And how you think you can face somebody you are looking at having AK-47? And you are carrying, some of them carry single-barrel guns, some are double-barreled. The highest you can see with them is pump action. One, when they are about 8, you see 1 or 2 carrying it. They just run away, leaving them. So that's why forest guards have not been very effective. But what I think is that they should just be on recce to be able to inform the bigger security agencies about what they see, and that they could help. Some communities are no longer traveling. People are no longer traveling to their communities. Once they see you coming home, especially during the farming season, people want to go home and at least cultivate something, cultivate yam. But once they see you, that you are coming from the developed area, the township, I don't know who go to tell them that you are around. They kidnap you, take you into the bush, start demanding for millions of naira that you have not seen in your life. So these are the problems we are having in cultivation of yam and other crops. That's why we are going hungry in Igbo land. So,
all right. Thank you very much for coming on. Just before you go, shouldn't the festivities and the joy that Iwaji Riji brings to the Southeast also be an opportunity for a conference, so to speak, where you talk about issues of security and the well-being of Igbo land?
I think this discussion, not only during the festivities, the discussions are on. But you know that issues concerning security are not discussed in the public. Your enemy will use it.
Okay.
Do you understand?
So
something is going on.
Thank you very much,
Okay.
Chief.
Thank
Andrew
you.
Nnebedum, for
Thank
coming
you.
on to Southeast News.
Thank you very much.
I wish you the best.
Thank you.
We're taking a short break now. When we come back, we'll take a trip to our man in Anambra State, Ndu Okpaleze. Stay with us. We're in Anambra State, where Ndu Okpaleze, our bureau chief, is waiting. Ndu, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You've been scarce a bit from Southeast News.
Sorry about that.
No problems.
I'm with you now.
I learned that Anambra State has been a beehive of activities, from one youth, two skills, to making Anambra State the hub of training is a huge one. Where do we start from?
Yeah, it's a beehive of activities, and especially the area you mentioned, one youth, two skills, is something that is a kind of very huge legacy on the part of the present administration in the state. And I want to let you know that with the last opportunity of giving about 8,000 youths, about 8,000 youth benefiting from that one youth two skill program, it has somehow helped to stem the tide of crime in the state, even as it's just starting. Remember that before now, 5,000 youths have benefited, and they have been telling their stories, good stories. So on the crime level, let me report that cases of kidnap and cultism, they appear to be abating. They are dying down, and I think it's because of as a matter of factors that like that one you to skill, and then also the governor, who is the chief security officer of the state, he recently summoned a security meeting where traditional rulers, PGs, vigilante leaders, and all other people participated, and he gave them a kind of order, marching order, to maintain security in their various communities. And I want to let you know that reports coming from most of the communities, everywhere is getting calmer and calmer by the day, because the vigilantes have come back and they have, I think maybe by walking around the streets and showing their strength, showing what they have, and that their readiness to pounce on anybody that makes trouble in the community.
Hello, I see there. Hello, Ndu.
Credit goes to them. Another part of the credit also that political activities are picking up, and you know that youths are always interested. They want to either be PA to the councillor or PA to the local government chairman. So local government election is in the air in Anambra State. Despite the initial problem of some parties saying that they may not participate. Honestly, what is at the ground level, almost all the parties are ready to participate.
Okay.
They are picking forms in PDP, and by tomorrow, LP will be holding what they call a stakeholders meeting in Oka. I'm sure it has to do with politics. So it's really a behalf of activities going on in the parts of the state.
Now, let's take you a bit back to that election matter. So the outcome of that stakeholders meeting is paying off now. You remember the last stakeholders meeting with members of IPAC after they threatened to go to court because of the reduction in the time given for the activities for the September 28 election. So what concrete thing are the other parties doing? Because the truth is September just is Sunday. 1st of September is on Sunday. So are they doing anything concrete before major activities start by 8th of September on the timetable?
Yes, just like I told you, the major parties are, opposition parties are PDP, Labour Party, APC, and very many few others. I told you, PDP, people are beginning to pick forms there. And Labour has scheduled a meeting tomorrow. I'm sure they're going to discuss in that meeting about this local government election. And for Afghan, the faction that is very working with the state government, their primaries at the local government level, at the community wards and local government level over the weekend. So candidates have emerged for councillorship and positions in AP area. Some other things are also working towards that. I want to believe that all the parties are planning, even though nobody want to let the other know what they are planning, but they are getting over.
Okay. Now, let me put two things together quickly. During the recent One Youth, Two Skills program, where 5,000 new youths are being empowered, there was something that came up. The representative of the governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, did mention that the youths should not be the leaders of tomorrow, but the youths should begin to be leaders of today. Now, moving that into the political environment, remember you just said that some of the youths will want to be PAs to either councillors or chairmen. The big question is, why are they not contesting any of these positions?
Okay. It may not be 100% correct to say that there are no youths contesting. Some of them are. It's only that majority root for holding people's conference bags and all whatnot. But there are youths that are interested and are contesting. For one, most of the APGA candidates that have emerged from last weekend's primaries, they have been in the system. They have been, caretaker chairman of the party.
Okay.
And I tell you that most of them are youths.
Oh, that's good.
Most of them.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, most of them are youths. For instance, Dr. Chibike, Dr. Fobike of Aguata local government area, is a youth. He must be in his early 30s. And there are so many other youths that are coming up. And in other political parties, youths are beginning to pick form. One thing that is happening about elections in Nigeria, not only in Anambra State, is about the high cost of politicking, picking forms.
The nomination forms.
But once they make it something that they can afford, I'm sure the youths will pick up forms, and are beginning to do that. Because this is their time, actually. I want to agree with that statement that today is their time. They're beginning to pick up. Not all of them are going for the crumbs anymore.
Okay. I need to say thank you very much, Ndu Okbaleze, for always coming up. But I want you to look at one issue, not today, because you said LP is having a stakeholders meeting, probably would have an update on that tomorrow. What I want you to focus on is, in 2023, there was this talk about not too young to run, and it inspired a whole lot of youths to begin to seek for positions, to vie, and to get into politics. The task I'm giving you is to begin to find out from most of these major political parties, why are they not encouraging youths to run? Why are they not reducing the money needed for expression of interest and nomination forms so that youths can really contest? That will be a matter for tomorrow, not today. For now, I'll say thank you very much for coming on for us. And that's been Ndu Okbaleze, a bureau chief in Anambra. Thank you again, Ndu.
You're welcome.
And it's at this point we say thank you for staying with us on Southeast News today. It's been a roller coaster from talking about New Yam Festival and getting a hint of what's happening in Anambra State. Thank you. Barik Mado was my name. It's been a pleasure.